All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to start this lesson by giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us all of this truth and who also rule well. And shalom, as always, to all the Achim in this truth and sincerity, starting with the 144,000 and the 1/3 of the nation of Israel, which we are fighting to be a part of. And this is your brother Chabar Yakal, coming back, Lord willing, with another quick and edifying lesson. And as you can see, the title of this lesson will be "Someone Has to Live to Tell the Tale." All right, and this came, through inspiration, through the Spirit, of course. But the Lord put the Spirit on me on one of my other videos to make that statement. And I even said, that's a lesson title after I said it, so here we are. But, it's like I'm rubbing my eye. I gotta stop doing that too. Damn pollen, but, pretty much someone has to live, the impending doom to be able to tell the tale, I'm gonna start in Psalms 30. I'm also going to get Psalms 9 and 14. But I'm going to get this first. So this is Psalms 30 and verse 9. 30, Salaki. And it says, matter of fact, I'll start at 7. It says, Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain to stand strong. Thou didst hide thy face, and I was troubled. Which, a mountain, by the way, is a government, So the mountain of Israel, of the Israelites, which are you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, which right now, we don't really have an official established government. Not yet, at least. But when Yahweh Shai returns, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his true name in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, which is the so-called black man from the tribe of Judah. All right, so-called black man with white colored hair with woolly texture. It's a so-called black man, as well as the holy angels, which he's coming back with an army of angels. All right, but when he comes back, that's when our government will be fully established. All right, but verse 8, it says, I cried unto thee, O Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and unto the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, I made my supplication, which supplication means to beg. When you pray, you're making supplications. Like in the ancient world, if you wanted something from a king, you had to make supplications. You had to really plead your cause, to make the king listen to you. There's even a parable. There's a parable where Yahweh Shai spoke on that. It was, I forget what it's called, but pretty much it was a woman who kept on nagging the king, asking him for something. And he wasn't going to give it to her, but she asked so many times and annoyed him so many times, he finally gave it to her. So that's pretty much what we do when we pray, all right? But that's what we should do, all right? It says, what profit, here's the point, what profit is there in my blood when I go down to the pit? Shall the dust praise thee? Shall it declare thy truth? So what profit is there for us, if the Lord just takes us out? Here we are, we're doing the work of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. We're doing videos, all right? We're teaching in his name, and we're teaching the correct doctrine, all right? So it's like, he's basically asking, like, if I'm doing the work for you, what profit is there for you to take me out early, Because we're hoping to get out of here by way of a chariot. You know, we're hoping that we endure, the famine of the word, which is the Lord taking us off the streets, because there's going to come a time. Right now is the time to get this truth. All right, it's going to come a time where we're not going to be on the highways and byways, and we're not going to be on the virtual highways and byways either, on the internet. That's the famine of the word. All right, but we're hoping that we endure that. We're hoping that we endure Jacob's trouble, which is going to simultaneously be happening. All hell breaking loose, civil unrest. Okay. Not being able to go to your nearest city, checkpoints, military checkpoints, all right, 15-minute cities, robo-dogs, DARPA dogs, drones, okay, Terminators, all these things is going to be a reality. We're hoping to endure all that and get saved. Because if the Lord took us out, early, it's like, what point? What use is it gonna be unto us? All right. So I'm gonna continue on. I got a few more precepts. I got Psalms 9 and 14. So basically, let me just get it real quick. Psalms 9 and 14. I'm gonna just get it. I'll start at 13. It says, "Have mercy upon me, O Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Consider my trouble, which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou that liftest me up from the gates of death." All right. So going back to the title, someone has to live to tell the tale. Well, guess what? He's the one who lifts us up from the gates of death. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right. He raised the Most High, raised Yahweh Shai from the dead. Okay. And Yahweh Shai, was operating under that same power that the Most High used to raise him from the dead. He was doing miracles with that same power. And he gave his disciples, which of course became apostles, he gave them the same power, spiritual power. But guess what? Even unto us, he said, I will give power unto those that believe me. All right, roughly paraphrasing in John 14. So that he's going to give us that same power, man. All right, that raised him from the dead. He's the one who lifted us up from the gates of death. All right, so somebody has to live, bro. Somebody has to be able to make that statement. Thou that liftest me up from the gates of death. Someone has to be, and when I'm saying someone, but really it's multiple people. All right. Like there's people who have to be delivered to be able to say that. Okay. So continuing on, it says, "That I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in thy salvation." So there has to be someone out there, people, all right, families, okay, of the nation of Israel. I'm not talking about everyone. I'm talking about the Israelites, the elect. Not even all Israelites. And I'm going to get to that. But someone has to be able to make that statement. A group of men, the 144,000, which are all men, and 1/3 of men, women, and children of the nation of Israel has to be able to fit this, to be able to say, the Lord lifted me up from the gates of death. The Lord delivered me. He saved us from that great destruction. He saved us out of Babylon the Great. He beamed us up. He gave us new bodies. Someone has to be able to declare that and, sing songs about that, rejoice, praise Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, praise his name, and make it known unto everyone. Because if no one survives, who is there going to be to praise Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai? That's the point of this lesson. Who's going to be able to praise those names? All right, who's going to be able to defend the honor of those names if he just takes out everyone who calls on those names? Matter of fact, since I'm in Psalms 9, the Lord actually has respect unto the ones that know his name. since I'm in Psalms 9 going up in verse 9, it says, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. You know, if there's a natural disaster, if you go to a refuge or a shelter, you won't perish. You know, you'll survive. You'll live to tell the tale. So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, beginning with his names, is our refuge, so that we're able to live to tell the tale, to live through all hell breaking loose, to live through Jacob's trouble. You know, Leviathan, which is Godzilla. All right, people getting hit with laser beams, people bugging out, apparitions, and ultimately the nuclear destruction, Babylon the Great being destroyed. We'll be able to live through all that because he was our refuge. He delivered us. We called on his name, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and he's going to save us. He's going to beam us up in the chariot, the vehicles of the angels, all right? Which, like I mentioned, the angels are so-called black men as well, men of color. You know, beards, you know, afros. They got crowns on their head, ancient garments. They fly around in what the world ignorantly calls the UFOs, which are really chariots, the angelic vehicles. That's how we're going to be saved, man. Verse 10, it says, and they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, has not forsaken them that seek thee. All right, so the ones that know his name are going to trust in him, and he's not going to forsake those that seek him. He's not going to forsake the ones that are calling on his name, that are, you know, the ones that if he was to deliver them, would praise his name and make known that he was the one who did it. He's not going to, you know, forsake them, forget about them. All right, he's going to actually remember them and come through for them because they're actually going to praise his name. When the Lord delivers us, Lord willing, we're of the elect, we're going to be praising his name. Somebody has to live to do that. You know, or else what's the point of all of it, you know? This is a movie at the end of the day. I'm going to get Zechariah 13:9. You know? And by the way, I'm walking too. This is a walking talk. All right. So this is Zechariah 13:9. All right, it says, and I will bring the third part through the fire and will refine them as silver is refined. So the third part is talking about the 1/3. You know, when you read verse 8, it goes into the 2/3 being cut off and dying. The 2/3 of the nation of Israel. But then you also have the 1/3 as well, which the 144,000 is at the forefront of that number, of that 1/3. This is the elect. All right. He said he's going to bring them through the fire, which is all the tribulation, the hell, the hardship, Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation. He's going to bring us through all of that. Then when those actual missiles hit and that actual fire comes, he's going to bring us through that too. He's going to beam us up and take us up out of there. All right. It says, and we'll try them as gold is tried. All right. So meaning he's going to test us, put us through tests, which is likened unto fire, to make us better, to refine us, so we could be more, we could shine more. All right. Like how they say, going through stuff builds character. It's the same way that putting a flame to gold makes it shine more, We're likened unto that gold, Lord willing, we're of the elect. Continuing on, it says, here's the point. It says, they shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my power. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So the point that I'm bringing this out, someone has to fit that. Because it says, they shall call on my name. This is after the destruction. This is after the salvation. Someone has to be left standing to call on his name, and for him to say, this is my people. And for them to say, the Lord is my God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Someone has to be left standing. And don't get it misconstrued what I'm saying. When I say someone, I'm really talking about multiple people. All right, 144,000 and 1/3, not just one person. But Lord willing, this lesson was edifying once again, giving our praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Shalom.